One day, his teacher announced that all the sperm were to partake in a grand race. His teacher gave him a map that guided him to the mysterious prize. Every day, Sammy asked his teacher what the prize would be, and every day, his teacher would tell him the same thing, that he would just have to find out on his own. Stage is it's always just as high as I remembered it. Hello, everyone. My name is Anuj, and I wrote this piece when I was in grade 9 as part of a project. It's actually based on a true story, and for the sake to protect the identities of those characters I wrote about, I actually have changed the names. Like any good story, it has its fair share of ups and downs, and it has some losers and winners. And some might say it chronicles one of humanity's greatest adventures. And even though it's not maybe your specific story, it's definitely a story I think you can relate to. This is Sammy Sperm's big adventure. With pictures and all. That I drew, guys. Come on, get your head out of the gutter. This is a story of Sammy Sperm and his big adventure. It begins in the seminiferous tubule nursery. Yeah, it gets technical. Stay with me, guys. Sammy and his 3 brothers were created by a process called meiosis, just like any other sperm in the nursery. Each sperm was unique from the rest. And we can see the seminiferous tubule with Sammy and his little buddies. And a picture of the penis. Sammy grew and grew. He even got a tail. When Sammy showed the nurse, she told him it was not a tail, it was a flagellum. He finally became a sperm cell. She told him it was time for him to start school in the epididymis. Once again, another penis, and then there's Sammy saying, "I am so excited for epididymis school." It's like another penis. Sammy loved school. He learned to swim there and was best in his class. One day, his teacher announced that all the sperm were to partake in a grand race. His teacher gave him a map that guided him to the mysterious prize. Every day, Sammy asked his teacher what the prize would be, and every day, his teacher would tell him the same thing, that he would just have to find out on his own. And this is Sammy with his teacher and a map of where he needs to go. 2 weeks later, something odd started to happen. The gate of the town of Epididymis started to open, and all the sperm knew that the race was ready to begin. All 300 million of the sperm were off. The first thing Sammy saw was a great freeway called the Vast Deferens. As he traveled, he saw many interesting things. Sammy was well ahead of the rest of the sperm, and Sammy's mitochondrion was grumbling. I'm guessing these laughs are only coming from people who are in science thrown over here, more than others. Oh yeah, I know what that is. He was very hungry. As he passed the bladder, he spotted a seminifical vesicle drive-through up ahead. Sammy decided to stop for a small snack. Why do I have so many penises in this book? I feel like one would be enough. Oh no, I'm pointing to where he is. Okay, so Sammy's in the seminifical vesicles, and Sammy's saying, "I am hungry." Soon the rest of the sperm caught up to him, and they were all packed by the prostate gland. They were all covered in some kind of protective coating, but it seemed to make Sammy stronger. Sammy swam on with the rest of the semen as he neared the urethra. Then all of a sudden, Sammy realized he was in a new place. Everything looked different, and he assumed that he was in the vagina. He had heard so much about it. He could see acid glaring at him as he passed, but he was a good swimmer, and he didn't let anything get in his way. He swam on. In the corner of his eye, Sammy spotted the cervix and speedily squeezed through it and found himself in the uterus. He swam further and further until he reached the fallopian tubes. He had to choose which one to take. He somehow knew the prize was in the right fallopian tube. It must have been all the estrogen that was seeping from it. And we see Sammy in the vagina, and I don't know what red blood cells, I don't know, saying leave here, intruder. Definitely not red blood cells, come on, it's not my biology. Sammy swam like he had never swam before and didn't give up. Him and his classmate, Gamete, were mitochondrion to mitochondria. But he was sure he could beat him to the prize. Just as Sammy turned the corner, he saw the most beautiful egg he had ever seen. Her name was Ellen. And she was the most perfect Zona. And he wanted so desperately to become a zygote with her. So he swam at full speed straight toward Ellen and burrowed his head into her. Many sperm did the same thing, but Helen decided to choose Sammy to join her. He thought they had chemistry. And we have Sammy seeing Ellen and having a little heart of love for her. The two cells mixed up their chromosomes and became a whole new cell. Slowly but surely, they traveled down the rich and nutritious lands of the endometrium, where they decided to spend their honeymoon for 9 months. Months passed from a small zygote divided into many more cells until there were millions and millions of cells that soon made up a baby. Soon, it was time for the baby to leave the same way the sperm entered. ... through the vagina. Thank you.